Prepare yourselves, folks, as in this story, there are no Prince Charmings or fairy godmothers. Just Wonder, the constant she now calls home, and all the animal friends she will forcibly make along the way. This ain't no fairy tale no more, princess. It's a survival thriller. Wonder, the princess of the constant, is here. Brought to us by our dear friend Sumi with additional help from Monty. Wonder could also be titled A Friend of the Forest, as we will discover that she's really good at making friends with nature, even if nature doesn't feel the same way. But it's time to whistle while we work, everyone. Let's get to it. But what kind of princess is Wonder, you ask? Well, good question. Because parts of her scream the damsel in distress side of would-be royalty, while most others would have you thinking that she needs no man to get it done, if you know what I mean. Take her stats, for example. They're not great, and she appears pretty weak and meek. But get to her main perk, a friend of the forest mechanic, and you will think twice about labeling her a helpless princess. Spiders, birds, mosquitoes, bees, fishies, butterflies, rabbits, light bugs, and even mole worms all grant Wonder a unique perk while they sit within her inventory. But before we fire through what those are, I would like to make a couple more suggestions. Lobsters should and could offer damage reduction due to their hard shells, and care rats should lessen the effects of enlightenment due to them being lunar mobs themselves. But those are just my 2 cents. You do you, Sumi. But let us start with a captured rabbit, shall we? With an alive rabbit within her inventory, Wonder here will benefit from a pretty darn decent speed boost over all others in the game. A 15% increase to be specific. It's not as fast as a walking cane, of course, but it will definitely help in the long run. But word of warning, however. In my testing, I felt as if Wonder's overall movement was actually kind of floaty and perhaps even delayed a bit, so be mindful there. Moving on though to butterflies and how they can lead to Wonder regenerating 1 point of health every 5 seconds as long as they remain alive within her inventory. And yes, moon moths count as well. It's good, reasonable, and quite beneficial. If you could stay on top of maintaining another life that isn't yours, that is. But more on that later. For now, know that spiders can also be our friends, just as long as we have another spider friend somewhere in our inventories. Heck, even spider queens themselves will completely ignore us too, which is a plus. And with spiders lasting longer than most of the others here today, this is definitely one of her better perks for sure, so take advantage. But don't let that fool you into thinking that others are not worth your time, as that cannot be further from the truth. Take what having an alive mosquito in your inventory can do for you, for example, something I never thought I would say, but any attack with a mosquito in play will restore roughly 5% of the damage given as return health to you. In short, the more damage you deal, the more you will heal per attack with a mosquito friend in your inventory. Very nice. Now, I wouldn't discount fishies either, as while their perk is definitely the most situational out of them all, it can actually be a lifesaver nonetheless. Keeping a fish alive in your inventory will have it to where Wonder will not lose any sanity from wetness whatsoever, even if she's absolutely soaked to the bone or even wearing wet clothes. Not bad. I'm sure most of you saw this one coming, but holding a light bug as Wonder will provide a teensy tiny light source for her and her alone as she goes along, so take advantage. Interestingly enough though, mole worms provide the exact same thing, and I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I think a separate benefit per animal is the way to go. But then again, I'm not entirely sure what mole worms would actually do for Wonder, so there's that. And then there's this, birds and their perks. Perks that really don't fly with me at the end of the day. For you see, having a bird in your inventory will result in you taking 10% less damage overall, and I have no idea how that makes any sense. Hence my lobster suggestion. But perhaps holding a bird should make others unafraid of Wonder, or maybe they would molt feathers every now and then. I don't know, but I get the feeling anything's better than this. And last, but certainly not least, bees. Unfortunately, they are the one perk that isn't working properly currently, which is a shame, as they're also the one perk that's probably the best out of them all, but what can you do, eh? Just note that bees are meant to damage all attackers by 10 each hit taken. Cool stuff. But not configurable though, which is also an unfortunate thing, as plenty of the other mechanics are, so be aware of that. However, we aren't quite done with Wonder yet, as all of that was merely her main mechanic, folks, not any of her side perks. Like how Wonder loves creatures so much and gets attached to her forest friends to the point where if she lets them go while they are hungry, she will lose quite a bit of sanity herself along the way. The hungrier the animal, the more sanity lost. Let them starve and or kill them from within her inventory and anticipate full insanity immediately. And yup, that's probably coming as no surprise. But also note that if Wonder kills a non-hostile, carryable creature in the wild, she will also lose sanity that way too. So it ain't always easy peasy being a nature-loving princess, everybody. But a princess she still is, and having learned a thing or two from her royal friends apparently, she has a unique way to negate all that sanity loss. Gnomes. No, not kidding. She loves dwarfs and will benefit from a positive sanity aura from gnome trinkets. And yes, that includes the gnomettes too. More gnomes, gnome problems. All that said, she has also inherited the bad from her princess pals, like how eating raw fruits will put her in an endless slumber. Well, not really, but the sleep will last a bit, with grogginess to follow, and with how often we eat berries to survive the early, very nomadic game of this game, I can see this being quite the issue, honestly. But finally, getting kissed from a frog is supposed to turn her into a frog for 10 seconds. However, the mechanic seems done broken currently. But it sounds very fun, very unique, so it's the thought that counts. But yes, don't you fret. Here is a quick look at her royal ghost, as well as a listen in to the voice her vocal cords host. And there you have it, everyone. Wonder, the Princess of the Constant by Sumi and Monty. Now, I absolutely adore Sumi's work, as they have continuously created simple, easy to swallow, and appropriately themed characters through and through without ignoring and or jeopardizing the overall difficulty of this survival game. They have done it once upon a time, and have done it once again here today with Wanda. So thank you both for your wonderful work as always, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with next. Thanks for watching, folks. Well wishes to all. Where there is kindness, there is goodness, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.